BS Discover, how you doing? Good. I want to talk to you. I want you to feel me. I know you've been feeling things going on. I know you've been seeing things. We've been talking about money. We've been talking about investing. But now I want to talk about you. How you been feeling? Have you feel a different confidence in yourself? Is the confidence building you to the point that tomorrow when you wake up, you're feeling good no matter what's going on around you? Because there's a lot going on that we cannot be ignorant to. You have to still pay attention even though you're still trying to do the things that are possible, because if we do move on, if there's no effect, you have to survive. It's going to take what? Financial support to survive. So you got your ears open up to everything that's going on that's bringing in money. You got your eyes watching where the moves are. Should I move here to make a change? Should I move there to make a change? That's just the normal thing any human being would do. This is a normal instinct that we have within ourselves. And I know you're feeling like, okay, I'm doing all this, but what is the outcome? And I'm gearing towards making sure my savings, and even the possibility, if you're renting from a room, if you're renting a house, maybe you want a mansion. I know I want a mansion. That's my dream, to have a mansion. Let me be honest with you. Somebody asked us the other day, a group of ladies, what would you like to have? In my head, I already knew mansion, but I said it to somebody today, that same day earlier. So I let them say what they wanted to say. One time when you admit something to somebody, you let it stay there. You just don't want to continue to admit it. Now they have their story to tell, So what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want within the next couple of months? Whether you're living with your parents, whether you're sharing a home with somebody. Do you want your own? How are you feeling? How's your confidence feeling? We struggle every day to make sure that we stay above water. When I mean above water, I mean making sure we don't drown in what's going on around us. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of change going on. And within that change, it may not even include you. The change may be to change the whole thing that is about you, about your culture, about your people. But you can find a way to survive. You can find a way to maintain. What you do, you keep what? Your ears hearing and your eyes seeing to what's going on around you. And you stay focused and be ready to jump on a move if you have to quickly make an agreement opportunity, either do what? Petitions, because we use petitions to make things happen. There's a lot of petition signing. I don't know about you, but every time I turn around, somebody wants me to sign a petition, and you have to be careful not to sign it twice. I'll be like, hold on, what's that petition about? I think I already signed that petition, So there's a lot going on. We're going through change, and one thing I try to tell everybody, you can't give your information to everybody who's out there taking petition. You have an inclination in you whether I can trust that person who's taking my information down. I'm not talking about people who go out there and get that job, but there's been something that happened to me that I did that and I learned from it. First, it was the area that I was in. And I had to go out of the area where I know 90% of the time a crime is not going to be happening to you, So that's just my advice for myself. A lot of people may hate on it, that I'm just being honest. And it had to do with my taxes, so I didn't find out the situation until my tax time. They want the information. I think that's the time you needed to have health insurance and taxes, and somebody assigned something for a tax, and what happened was, for health insurance, and you're supposed to have proof, and they signed everything over to their name and not my name. But think that I was aware of what was going on, and when I reported it, it was a quick, they quickly found out what they needed, and I got the information, and I was able to make sure that I had no problems with identifying who I am and what my email is. I even go to the point of some emails I may close down, I may not use it after a while. I change my email, constantly change your passwords, just to keep up with the times, because people are so good at committing unseen crimes. And even though you may have a protection, but that doesn't mean you're protected. And people have devices that can break down that protection, or they may somehow be in your home. That's why in one of my videos I was like, keep the keys away from the door. And I learned that because one time I was at a person's house, and you could see the hand coming in the door, trying to grab the key from where you put the keys at when they get in the house. And we say, wow. And I learned then, okay, now that everybody have a place where they place their keys, and it's usually near the door as soon as you come in the house so everybody can get their key real quick. People started changing that area to another designated area. So, because it's times, the times has changed, and it only changed because now we're more aware. And when you become more aware, it's going to be change. Because the change is I became aware. Now I know what's going on. I'm not blinded. I'm not staying blind to when change is happening. Why is it happening? Where is it happening? Who is allowing it to happen? And when is it going to happen? And how long do we have to put up with this before more change, progress? And this is going to cause us to go backwards or move forward. Is it going to cause me and my family to go backwards and move forward? A lot of us is going to change. Our kids are getting older. They on their own. They're creating their own families. They having their own issues they have to deal with. And we're learning how to break away from that as parents and allow them to grow and giving them respect and order. Yet still we want to be there to give them some positive input without being negative about what's going on, because we've all been through that growth period, that growth stage, So I just want to talk to you today about what you think is going on and what changes you think is going to happen in the near future. I just want you to come out your door and see if it's safe. What do you notice? Do you notice a group of different people from before? Maybe you lived in a Caucasian area and there was like 70% that was Caucasian, 30% black. Now you see 70% black, 30% Caucasian. You understand what I'm saying? And then you begin to say to yourself, well, how's the job market? And then how are other things? How's the crime? Has the crime changed since that change? Can I still walk outside? Can I still sit on my stoop? Or maybe it's time for me to get out of this area. Maybe it's time for me to venture on to something different. But the good thing is that we're breathing today. Life has changed for many of us and taken different courses. Some of us have gone backwards only to move forward. We're not trying to be still. The only reason why we be still is to pay attention to what's going on. Once I'm still and I know what's going on, I'm going to make a move. And I still could be still, but I have to make a move to make change. So do that for me today. Go out. Ask yourself, has things changed? And if it's changed, start making moves on some of the things that you have to do. In my video, I'm going to leave a link of some of the changes that we are going through, especially in America. And sometimes the changes that we go through, like this great bill that they want to create, cultural bill, immigration bill. And you want to know, is it going to affect you? Is there going to be a change on what is coming? And that's how you can make your change. That's how you can make your decision. You have to worry about yourself. I can't be worried about what's going on, because see, they can pass a bill, but they don't have to live with it. Let's say that again. They can pass a bill, but they ain't got to live with it. Because when they go home to where they go home, where they don't have to worry about it. But most of us probably have to deal with it. So guess what? You have a say in that change. So today ask yourself, and if it's going to change, what input can I give to make sure, just in case this does change the community, because you may have some coming in that may not even like you just because you're an American. And if we are to change America, we have to be aware of that, because we're not trying to change it where we have hate, because we as Americans have grown to the point that we went over, and our troops went over and fought for many rights. And now guess what? Now we got to fight for our own, in our own home. So ask yourself, is there change going on? Am I being blind to what's going on? Am I actually paying attention? So when I develop what I want to develop, I make sure that maybe what I developed was meant for me to move on. And until the next time, be as discovered, enjoy yourself, be fine. Change has been so good for me that I'm able to see change way before, it's changed, whether it's visualized to me. Being chosen, you most likely will get a vision. I don't get visions often, but I'm getting it often because the change is so close. And most of the time you can't share it. Sometimes you can, but if it's going to hurt you, whatever was shown to you, you have to keep to yourself to save you. Now I'm showing you. Walk out your door. Go to the store. Go to your children's school if the children have school. Pop in, see what's going on. A lot of parents, they work, but they don't have time to go to the child's school. They send somebody else. Take your time. Because if it was you, wouldn't you want somebody to care that much about you? So go out there and start making a change and BS and discover.